If you feel like you're always busy but you're not making any money, it might be time for you to rethink your business's pricing strategy. Hi, I'm John from Carrollton Consulting, and in this video we're going to go through 3 pricing strategies you can use for your service business. If you find this content helpful, then make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more great business tips and more information on pricing strategies, commercial strategies, marketing, sales, and more. Pricing should be a win-win. We should be providing value for the client while also covering our costs, both the direct and the indirect costs, and also making a decent wage. There's 3 approaches to think about pricing. The first one is the simplest, and that's a cost-based approach. So we're going to figure out what all of our direct and our indirect costs are, and then we're going to price our service with an appropriate markup to take those into account. That way we always make money, we know what it's going to cost us, and we know how much money we're going to make. The second way is to use competitors. So we're going to look across the industry, we're going to look across our market, we're going to figure out who our key competitors are, what they offer and what they price for similar services, and then we're going to price our service where it fits within that range of competitors. The third way is to use what's called a value-based pricing approach. So in this case, we're going to figure out what the value is that we're providing to the client, preferably using numbers, which we'll go through in a second. And then we're going to price our service so that it is within that sweet spot of covering our costs, but also still providing value to the client. I'm going to take a quick sidebar here to talk about something that's important, particularly with a service-based business and when it comes to pricing, and that is bundling services. If we have a series of services or a set of services that we offer, one of the things that we can do is we can bundle those services into a series of packages that allow us to price each package individually. And what we're going to do is we're not going to price each package based on the actual number of hours that we spend with each client, but we're going to figure out how much it takes on average to do those things, and then that's where we're going to price the package. And it takes away some of the time-consuming back and forth with coming up with an individual quote for each particular client or each new client that we bring in. So I want to introduce Mia. Mia owns a service cleaning business. And we're going to walk through each of the 3 pricing models based on how Mia might use it in her residential cleaning business. We're going to walk through each of the pricing models now, using Mia as an example. And the first one we're going to walk through is the cost-based model. Now we're going to base everything across these services on cleaning like a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, normal-sized house. That's what we're going to use. We're not going to go through each of the individual bundles. So let's talk about the cost-based model. So we need to figure out 2 layers of costs, and then we need to add a markup on top of those. So let's talk about what Mia's direct costs might be. The direct costs are things that she uses every time she goes to a house. So think of that as cleaning supplies. It's any equipment that she brings with her that we spread out over the life of the equipment. It might be any employees that she brings with her. So if she brings 1 or 2 people with her to help her clean that house in a couple of hours, then that will be the amount of money that we pay them, including any benefits or anything like that. For those, let's say that for Mia's business, those 3 things, we spend about $10 on cleaning products. We spend about $10 as an equipment allowance. So if she's bringing a vacuum cleaner with her or something like that, then she's amortizing that over the course of several cleanings, a lot of cleanings, at $10 just for the equipment. And then let's say she brings 2 employees with her, and those employees both cost her $25 an hour. So she's going to spend $50 an hour on those 2 employees, and over the course of a 2-hour cleaning, that's going to cost her $100 in addition to the $10 for cleaning supplies and the $10 for equipment, so a total of $120 worth of direct costs whenever she cleans a house. Now there are also indirect costs. These are the costs of running her business, but they aren't particularly associated with a job, right? They're just what you spend to be in business. Things like the amount of money she spends on sales and marketing, what software she uses. If she uses software to schedule things or software for accounting, that is also an indirect cost. If she has other business expenses, maybe she pays a lawyer for some of the contracts, or she's paying a CPA at the end of the year to do her taxes, or she's paying for business insurance, workers' comp insurance, and things like that for her employees. All of those are also costs of doing business, but they're not specifically associated with a particular job. But we do need to take them into account. There's also the amount of time that Mia spends on some of these administrative tasks. Mia can't work a 40-hour week cleaning houses because Mia also has a bunch of other things that she needs to do in order for the business to run. So scheduling, setting up Facebook posts and advertisements, all that sort of thing. So let's say that for our marketing, we make a $10 allowance per house. We could base that on the customer acquisition cost. Let's say that for our software and other business things that we need in the background, we spend about $10 a month. Let's say that for our business expenses, we spend about $25 on the insurance, CPAs, lawyers, things like that. And let's give Mia an allowance of $25 for the time that she spends doing the scheduling and setting up everything so that they can efficiently clean houses whenever they're asked to. That's going to come out to a total of about $70. So we have $120 in direct costs, about $70 in indirect costs, and then we want to add a reasonable markup on top of that. So that's a total of $190. We want to round that up to some number that makes sense. So let's say that we round it up to $250, and then we have a $60 markup on top of that is essentially what Mia is being paid, or what Mia is taking home per job once all of the costs are taken into account. It's pretty straightforward. The math is relatively simple, and a lot of the pieces are fairly tangible so you can figure them out, but it's not necessarily the best way of pricing a business. So let's look at a couple of other methods. Let's talk about a competitor-based pricing model. Let's say that Mia has a competitor that serves the same market that she does and offers a pretty similar set of house cleaning services. What Mia's going to do is she's going to shop this competitor. She's going to look at the services they offer, how much they charge for those services, their customer reviews and their reputation within the community, how many clients they already have, as much as she can find out about them, so that she can make a comparison to her business and what her business offers. And she can begin to understand what differs between the two services, right? Is Mia's business better? Does she have better customer reviews? Does she do a better job of houses? From there, she can begin to decide, well, is she a premium priced option where she should be pricing above the competitor? Or is she a value priced option where she should be pricing below this competitor and trying to capture based on price rather than service? Now, how to do that is a bit challenging. We don't want to be too far away from the competitor in either direction. If we go too far below the competitor, sometimes people won't see the value in your service, or they'll see that price is too good to be true, and they'll think there's no way somebody could do a good job for that price, so I'm going to go with the higher priced option. Similarly, on the high side, if you price a long way above your competitors, customers might look at it and say, well, that is a big gap, and I know this premium priced option is better, I know the service is going to be better and things are going to be cleaner, but it's just not worth this big gap in price for me to pay it, so I'm going to go with the better priced option. One thing to remember about competitor-based pricing is really, really, really important is that you cannot talk to your competitors about pricing or about how to set prices. You can't collaborate or be seen to collaborate in any way to set the price within a particular market. You have to do it all based on the publicly available information that you can find without discussing that point with your competitor directly. So let's talk about a value-based approach to pricing. In a value-based approach to pricing, we look at how much value we're providing to the client, in this case the client being the homeowner, and then we're trying to figure out where the sweet spot is between how much it costs us to do the job and how much the homeowner is going to make from our service. Let's say that Mia's cleaning in a neighborhood where people make $100 an hour to work. And Mia and her team are pro cleaners. They can do things pretty quickly, they have the right equipment, they have all the right supplies, so it takes them a couple of hours to finish cleaning a house. Now, it might take a homeowner in that neighborhood maybe 5 hours to do the same work that it takes Mia to do a couple of hours, simply because her team is well practiced, well drilled, and they know exactly what they're doing. If it takes the homeowner 5 hours to clean a house, then it costs them $500 in lost productivity in order for them to clean the house instead of paying somebody else to clean the house while they continue to work and they continue to make money. The key to this is that as long as we're providing value by pricing less than what it would cost the homeowner to do it themselves, so less than $500, but above our costs being either $190 in the direct and indirect costs, or the $250 marked up price that we talked about when we were looking at the cost-based model, we're still providing them value. So we could price our cleaning service at $400 and still provide the homeowner $100 worth of value and make significantly more than we were when we were pricing it at $250 using a cost-based model. The real key to all this is that it takes a blending of these different approaches in order to make sure that you're continuing to deliver value, you're pricing the service appropriately, and that you're maximizing the revenue that you can pull in. The trap of using cost-based pricing too much is that when you're only looking at the costs, you're really underpricing the value of the service. And the value of the service is what you're delivering to the client. So making that gap smaller allows us to continue to deliver value to our clients, but also pull in significantly more revenue than we were doing if we were just using a cost-based model. So we talked about the fact that setting a price for your service business is challenging. There's different clients, different jobs, nothing is the same, but setting the right price is important. There's risks to doing it wrong, right? It's lost revenue, struggling to make ends meet, it's working all hours and feeling like we're not making any money. It's a low return on investment for the work that we're putting in. And customers get frustrated if we overprice, and they think they're getting a great deal if we underprice. If we do it right, we have a ton of happy customers because we know that when we price right, we're providing value for those customers. And also that we're making the money that we need to cover our costs, both the direct and indirect, and really make our business a success. If you need help with pricing, feel free to reach out to me. I'm John at carrolltonconsulting.com. We're happy to set up a quick 30-minute chat to see whether we can help you with whatever pricing challenges you're having. Thank you so much for watching. If this was valuable, please do click the like button and hit subscribe, and we'll be back with more business tips.